when it came to the mic and the people could not hear me. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Empress Fire, and I am your host here in the Oracle's Place, Oracle in the Gambia, or Oracle in African spirituality. Means with wisdom, grand rising, rich rising. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Right? So this is the Oracle's Place, and I can tell you where that name came from. Oracle, when it comes to African spirituality, basically is wisdom, is someone who can light the way for you, let's say. But then again, if you've seen The Matrix, the movie, Gloria Foster's character in there is the Oracle, the Oracle's Place, right? So, welcome to the Oracle's Place. And today we're talking about choosing a positive mental attitude. And one of the reasons that I chose that topic, choosing a positive mental attitude, is that, so first of all, I am a member of Girl Hold My Hand and Instagram. If I look this way, I'm looking at YouTube, and YouTube, if you see me look this way, I'm looking at Instagram. So bear with me as I figure the cameras out. First of all, I am a member of Girl Hold My Hand. It's a beautiful, amazing community of strong women coming together, right? And breaking generational curses, getting our money right, getting our mind right. I am also a part of Stormy Wellington's downline in TLC under Coach Brittany Turner. And I am a proud network marketer. I love what I do. This is something I've always wanted to do. And so, in bringing people in the community, I spoke to someone yesterday who's going through a tough time to introduce her to the business, to the community of women who are changing lives. And for some reason, this woman decided to come back to me, telling me, "Oh, Coach Stormy is your coach? I can't hold her seriously, blah, 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 blah." And that triggered me in a way, right? I have a past. Coach Stormy has a past. Everybody has a past, right? We all have a past. We have, in one way or the other, lived lives in ways that we didn't know was going to hurt us. And one of the topics that I talk about is adverse childhood experiences, childhood trauma. If you've listened to Coach Stormy, you know she's went through a lot of traumatizing incidences. If you followed the lives that I have done so far, you know I myself have had so many traumatizing events happen to me from my own family and my own people, the same way that Coach Stormy has experienced it. I've mentioned so many people in my lives who went through traumatizing incidences, and now they're speaking up and helping people out. But many of us in our communities, we fail to see that everybody has a past. And this woman who was saying this, she also has a past. And not the best. And so, choosing a positive mental attitude, I had to go back to my coach yesterday and just go like, "Oh my God, what is she telling me?" And she had to do a 15-minute voice recording to tell me to calm down because everybody's going to think that way. And one of the reasons this is so is that when you don't heal, when you don't do self reflection, to look at yourself, to look at who you are, the things that you've done, the family that you come from, you judge people. And What you're judging in someone else, you can only see it because it is within yourself. One of the things that I repeatedly say is that the things that I talk about, not only did I experience and live them, but I studied them in school. I went back to school to study the things that I went through to understand myself and who I am, right? I did not go to school to find a job, which is why what I do now, I love what I do. I had to join another community, which is the real world. And also, everything that I talk about, if you check the links in my bio in Instagram, if you check the description box on YouTube, everything that I use and talk about is in there, and you can research for yourself, right? Because many of us, we can only believe the things that we see, which sometimes is a hindrance because we cannot see God. We cannot see the creator. We are the creators. So we have to be able to see ourselves, to be able to see ourselves in someone else, which brings in that touch of humanity, of being in touch with the soul, the souls of each other. Another community that I am a part of that helps me to be able to do these lives, right? To get to the point where I have overcome my fear of going live, low self esteem, imposter syndrome, you name it, perfectionism. YouTube, in the community post, I had 3 posts about perfectionism. Instagram, I made the post about perfectionism too. It's something that I suffer from. I've always suffered from that. And now I am getting out of that to be able not just to share my story, but one of my vision is to create a home for those who never felt at home. Why? Because many people like myself, right, not only have they gone through traumatizing experiences, but they find it difficult to love their parents. We can say, I love my mom, I love my dad, but then deep within, there's a hole, there's a void. This I went through, I feel, right? So I know how that is. Some of us have had to cut off our families. I had to. We have had to cut off our families, but then most communities glorify the idea of retiring my parents and all of that when it comes to parenthood, our parents. But then there's a number of people in the world who, in order for them to heal, to get onto their healing journey, to amplify their spiritual journey, they had to cut off their family. And to those people, I say, there's a home for you. I am a voice for you. There are communities of people. If you're a woman, communities of women. If you're a man, we are here for you, and we hold hands, which is why I am in Girl Hold My Hand, because we need the community. Okay, so before I came on, I looked up um, okay, where did I put this? I might have to look it up again. Choosing a positive mental attitude, right? And I have some bullet points that I want us to go over and talk about things that can help us in our journey, when it comes to the idea of choosing a positive mental attitude. Now, I am not saying it is easy. It is not easy, and nothing is easy. And at the same time, you should not be looking for something easy. Oh, I remember I was talking about the other community that I am in, which is the real world. The real world is the money making community, a little bit or a lot different from Girl Hold My Hand and TLC. The real world is everything technology, is about tech, learning technology, learning social media, knowing how to make money online. 9 to 5 is not the thing. Now, I have done that. I have worked for companies. One of the jobs that I had that I loved a lot was being a visual merchandiser at H&M. I have done that for about 2 3 years. Loved it a lot. But then I had to understand that the reason I was at that job was I was running away from myself. If you watch my live from yesterday, my video from yesterday, I went in depth as to why I was there working 12-hour days, not taking lunch, right? Just busy, busy, busy going because I was running away from myself. I didn't want to stop to think. I didn't want to stop to look at what was happening in my life. I did not want to stop to understand myself because it was painful, right? It was painful. I have never liked myself. I've always hated myself. And if you relate to this, let me know in the comment. Any questions, suggestions, let me know, right? It's a dialogue. We're having a dialogue. At the same time, it's a monologue. I'm talking to myself. Whoa, yes, ma'am. Now I can talk about it. Now I can say that there was a point in my life I absolutely hated who I was. I hated myself. I hated my voice. I hated my face. I hated my smile. I can relate, yes. The only thing, luckily for me, and I'm so proud of that now that I understand. The one thing that I have always loved about myself was my skin color. Why and how, I cannot tell you. But I can remember from as young as 7, 8 years old, I can remember just loving my skin color to the point, I'm from the Gambia, West Africa. I always show my tattoo that this is how much I love my country. From the Gambia, West Africa. I tattooed this, I think, my first year in America. So I never forget where I am from. The Gambia, it's a tropical country, not as hot. People say Africa is hotter than America. That's not true because we have fresh air. There are a lot of trees around. When you go to Atlanta, Atlanta is way hotter than the Gambia, but it's a warm country. And so what I would do is I would take long walks out in the sun. I used to do that when I first moved to New York, but the humidity of New York City, I couldn't take. So I would take long walks in the Gambia, right? Just so I would be darker skin. I've always loved my dark skin. And I don't know why, but now that I understand racism and being in America, in New York, seeing the things that are happening to people that look like me and understanding why Africa is the way that it is, I am so thankful and grateful that I've always loved my skin color. And I think that has helped me love myself even more, but also the spiritual journey that I have taken, understanding how religion plays a role in how us women especially hate who we are. And I have never had a positive mental attitude. Never, ever, ever. And I am still a work in progress. And when it comes to the part of religion, you know, when it comes to the part of religion, I'm from a Muslim background, from a Muslim family. Now, if you are a Christian or from the black church, you understand church hurt. Church hurt. My accent, but now it's beautiful. Church hurt, right? Church hurt is the same as mosque hurt. one of the things that I have noticed is, yeah, black people all over the world, African descendants all over the world, divide and conquer, have been separated so much that we think most of our experiences are different. But when you go to African history, black history, you will see the connection between, say, black people in Brazil, like African descendants in Brazil, African descendants from the continent of Africa, African descendants in the African. Growing up, I was a Muslim, right? Was. And now where are you leaning at? What is your, I don't know, Christianity, African spirituality? Which one are you leaning in? I am leaning into African spirituality more. I'm working on my website, but on my website, I talk about how I rode the wave of Islam, Christianity, right? One of the prayers that I do now, somebody that I really like, he's a pastor from Nigeria online. At the same time, I have lived in a Buddhist monastery here in New York City, just called Zen Center of New York City. Love that. Love that. Well, that's a Zen center, but the monastery is in upstate New York. I've delved into African spirituality as well, which is the one that I am leaning on because I identify to it. I can see myself in the deities. Now, we don't worship them, but just like Buddhism talk about, we don't worship Buddha, but we aim to be like him, to be like Buddha, leaning towards their power. And that is African spirituality for me. So the community, the real world, the link is in my bio. The real world is owned and run by Andrew Tate, Corporate Tate. A lot of people don't like him. He's controversial. But being in the school is also very healing for me. Now, it's a predominantly white male community, right? But the resources and the message, I am taking it and bringing it into my community of Africans, of Black people, because we need those, right? Those are not meant for just one race of people. I understand that race is a social construct. I accepted Christianity in 2012. Lately, I have been into African spirituality. I'm really trying to find myself. Yes, it's a journey. It's a journey, right? I have accepted all of them because all of them are the way. And to speak to you directly, uh, my yeah, sunshine. Let me call you sunshine because I don't want to misspell or mispronounce that. I have accepted all of them: Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. I even have books in Judaism because they are Black Jews as well. These are things that I was not taught before. And all of them are the way. For me, the way that I was raised, I was afraid of talking to any other person who's not a Muslim because everything is fear, right? Christianity, there's a lot of fear. When it comes to Islam, there's a lot of fear because those are two that I have delved deep into. African spirituality, I haven't experienced that yet. Buddhism, Hinduism, I haven't experienced that. But then again, I am not from a family that is deeply rooted in those. My family is deeply rooted in Islam. And I was always told that if you talk to Christians or you connect with Christians or you eat their food or you go to church, when you die, you are going to hell. Must hurt. That's another trauma. And so not only did I hate Islam, it made me hate myself. And I have never liked the idea of being a woman and feeling dirty, right? That's the African and Caribbean dirty, feeling dirty that I was menstruating. I was seeing my period. That that's an aspect of being a woman. I hated that. I wanted it to stop because I did not want to feel impure. I didn't want to feel like I was dirty for seeing my period, as if it was my fault. Now, I am not saying this is because of the religion of Islam. I am saying this is the way that I was raised, and these are the things that I was told until I came to African spirituality and learned that there is so much power in our menstrual flow, from the moon cycle, from femininity, all that cycle. It's a matter of our menstrual flow. With our menstrual flow in African spirituality and the way that I understand it, you can break or make a person. And I began to see my power and embody my power and feel who I am when I started delving into African spirituality, because there's so much power in femininity when you are in African spirituality. And so, me, now I can say my entire life, I never liked myself. My entire life, I never loved who I was. I didn't even like my voice. I did not want people to hear me speak. If you listen to, what's her name again? The poet, the African American poet, the woman, why am I forgetting her name? Phenomenal woman. And Still I Rise. Uh, can somebody help me? YouTube, Instagram, help me with her name. Why am I forgetting her name? I have her book. And Still I Rise. Phenomenal woman. Anyway, she talks about how for a long time she was mute. She couldn't speak because she was sexually abused. And after the sexual abuse, she told her brother or someone, and then the person who abused her was found dead. And because of that, she went mute for years. For me, I relate kind of to the being mute. For a long time, I was quiet. The throat chakra. And if you don't know about chakras, really look deep into chakras, right? The center, the center points of who we are. Because when those are blocked, there's something happening, right? The third eye here, the crown chakra, if that's blocked, you cannot download, you cannot get messages, wisdom from whatever you believe in, the Holy Spirit, Allah, Muhammad, from your ancestors. You cannot get the message because it's blocked, right? When your throat chakra, you can't speak. Heart chakra, pain, hurt constantly in your heart, right? There's also the root chakra, from sexual abuse, sexual trauma. All of these are real. One thing though is that in our African communities and Black communities, we don't talk about these things. We don't talk about the trauma that we have experienced, the trauma that our parents have experienced. And these are generational traumas, right? If you are in Christianity, you hear it being talked about as generational curses. But if you are in African spirituality as well, you hear that phenomena. So I lost my point. What was I talking about? These are things that I love so much that whenever I start speaking, it just comes, and then I forget my point. So let's delve into a positive mental attitude. Now, I found an article by this It's a conscious rethink. Throat chakra. Yes, it was closed. I was mute. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk about myself. I couldn't talk about my needs. I couldn't I couldn't communicate because I have never been taught how to communicate. My mother still cannot communicate, right? Which is why I had to cut her off because I was growing and didn't know that I was growing because she wasn't growing, and she was the one that I spoke to the most. But at the same time, I saw that the people that were around me were not growing. And so I felt crazy. If you look at all my videos, I talk about this. I have felt crazy for a long time. And I think because I have always felt crazy, I never liked myself because I thought something was wrong with me. Why is everybody thinking this way? And I have a different way of thinking. Why am I not seeing people who look like me talking about these issues? So, in the beginning of my spiritual journey, which was 9 years ago, that's when I started my spiritual journey. The first person that I started listening to talking about this issue was Eckhart Tolle, right? Eckhart Tolle was the first spiritual teacher, even though he doesn't like to call himself a spiritual teacher, that I started listening to. And he is more, he doesn't like to associate with himself with any religion, but it's more of Zen and Buddhism. Now, Eckhart Tolle is a white man. Even though when it comes to spirituality, you go to a certain point that you understand the social construct of colorism, right? That we are all one source, one soul, but we just come in different shades. Eventually, in spirituality, you're able to see that because I have done podcasts and women from different parts of the world, even in Russia, right? We're part of my podcast, and they also experience some of the traumas that I was talking about, that I talk about, right? And so understanding that colorism in my life, yes, for me it started within my own family. My mother was the first person to introduce bleaching cream to me. She was like, oh, use this so you can lighten your skin a little. I'm like, no, I am watching you bleach your skin, and I am not motivated. I am not inspired by the process, by the work, and all of that. Never. And I always talk about, I have experienced years ago talking about racism and having a huge backlash because my daughter is biracial. My daughter, she's 7 years and she's biracial, and her father is from Poland. And me looking at my daughter, I had a doll when I was a child that looks exactly like my daughter. But at the same time, I am from a family that glorifies whiteness. Just like in most of our Black communities, we have been miseducated. There's an important book to read, The Miseducation of the Negro by Cardi G. Woodson, that will tell you a whole lot about how we have been miseducated. So these are the things that we need to talk about, right? One of the reasons that I am in Coach Stormy's community as well as Andrew Tate's community, these two people are very controversial. The reason that they are controversial is because they are talking to the soul of men and women and young people. They are bringing so many things to light that we have never been told before. Coach Stormy talks about her traumatic childhood, right? I have never seen a Black woman talk about that, even though everything she talks about, I have learned, I have known, like I studied it, and I was on the journey. But it was so painful for me because I didn't see any Black person talk about it, any African person talk about it. All I heard was the division and the problems and the issues between Africans and African Americans and Caribbeans, and the divide and conquer that colonialism has brought to us, and we are now pushing it forward, right? Even Coach Stormy talking about affiliate marketing, Coach Stormy talking about network marketing, right? The products that we use right now, none of these are new to me. These are things that I have always been on. So I am part of her group, not to lose weight, but because these are things that I've always done. Now I'm just coming out in the open and doing them and talking about it because I finally found somebody who looks like me who's talking about it. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, talks about the social construct of race and racism, talks about how he is a millionaire. And he would, just yesterday I was watching his interview with what is Tucker Carlson, and he was saying when a rich white person and a rich Black person and a rich Mexican and a rich, just rich people anywhere from all over the world come together in one room, nobody is talking about race. Nobody cares about race, right? They're talking business, they are talking money. The only time you see the idea of race and the trauma of race and Black and white come about is from us, ordinary, broke, poor people. I'm not a millionaire yet, but I consider myself to be a part of that bracket because that's where I'm going. But he talks about that. And if you look deeply, you would see that this is how they are keeping us stuck as people. Black people fighting white people fighting Black, Caribbeans fighting Africans, Africans fighting African Americans, African Americans not wanting to be Africans. A whole confusion. But that is the law of distraction, where we cannot tap into our creativity. And the reason that we are not able to tap into our creativity is because we have all these problems and all these mental issues, right? I posted it, I shared a flyer on my Twitter with a Black history professor that I found on Twitter, and I love his work. I love what he does. Let me see if I can find it. What's happening to my Twitter? Is Twitter down? Twitter is always down. Twitter is always down. But I share these things, right? Where, let me go to my LinkedIn because that's where I found it. From the liberated self. I don't remember his name. Right, and he shares these posts about Black and brown folk, folk, Black and brown people, how we can liberate our minds. These are not things that you see regularly. These are not things that people talk about a lot, and it's here. They're Black and brown folk. For those of us on a quest towards healing, working on becoming self actualized, please note that this process is contingent upon our psychological liberation. If our minds are not truly liberated from the negative ideas we have internalized about ourselves, our quest towards healing will be severely limited and disrupted. One of the most powerful things when it comes to healing is self-reflection, being able to see yourself to the point that you're not looking at anybody, right? I am in communities where a lot of things are being talked about, but being in the real world in Andrew Tate's community has taught me valuable lessons of being able to just have this laser focus on your dreams and goals and yourself. I always share one mantra that I repeat to myself every day because I suffered greatly from 5 years old. I suffered from chronic depression. And my father would always tell me, or he told me when I told him about my childhood traumas, what was happening at home that he never knew. I told him about my depression, and he said that depression is a Western disease. Battery low. Oh my God, don't be low. Don't be low. This battery, don't be low. Right? I told him about my depression, and what he said was that, oh, depression is a Western disease. Now, if you have an African family, there's a possibility that they say depression is a Western disease. And I am here to tell you that depression is not a Western disease, because I have been depressed my entire life. That's the easiest way to say it. I thought I charged this. People, you will have to forgive me as I figure this out. I am new to go in life. Depression, I'm talking to African people, I'm talking to Black people, I'm talking to African Americans, I am talking to people who understand the stigma in our communities when it comes to depression. Depression is not a Western disease. Depression is not a white disease. Depression doesn't only happen because you live in America. Depression is in Africa. Depression is everywhere. If you were raised with trauma, right? If you identify and relate to the things that I talk about, if this relate to you, let me share this, because I downloaded what depression is, because our parents will drive us crazy, especially if they don't understand this, or if they have not been on their healing journey. Then they will believe that depression is not real. Now, even though the mantra that I will share talks about that, but that's about affirmation. That's about affirming it to yourself. So you don't believe that you have depression. You don't believe that you are a depressed person. But what you are is you are feeling depressed. What you're experiencing is the feeling of depression. Forget it. Let me look it up. Depression. And if you've never heard about adverse childhood experiences, look it up. Look it up. That's an easier way to understand the things that you've been through and what you have to look into. Okay, let's read it from the National Institute of Health. Right? What is depression? Depression is a common but serious mood disorder. Now, it's not a disorder because you can heal it. It causes severe symptoms that affect how a person feels, thinks, and handles daily activities, such as sleeping, eating, or working. You know what? Let me go to choosing therapy. Choosing therapy. That's a site I love. I have had therapy for 2 years. I just completed therapy. Right. Yeah. Depression, types, symptoms, treatment. I guess that's a good idea. Let's start with depression and then delve into choosing a positive mental attitude, because there are so many things we're told about depression. If you're black, if you're African, that we don't understand. Depression is a collection of symptoms with the ability to impact all parts of the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Because the term depression covers a range of disorders and symptoms, the way one person experiences depression can vary greatly from someone else. The way I experience my depression can be very different. Instagram, I will show you how my depression is, and this is a picture that I've shared before. YouTube, I'm sorry, I don't know yet how to do it. I'm new, so I'll figure it out eventually. But if you want to see the picture, you can check my Instagram post. Let's see. Yeah, this is how I experience my depression. When I am depressed, I cannot eat, I lose weight. Some people gain weight. My sister gains weight. When I am depressed, I don't eat. My sister eats. So I am tiny because I've constantly experienced depression. She is bigger because she's experienced depression. So it's very different, right? When I am depressed, I start with being very extroverted. That's how I know that something is wrong, because I'm anxious and I'm just on fire. Like I had so many shots of espresso, right? But then eventually I would crash and be like that, quiet in bed all day, sleeping. When I am depressed, I smoke weed more because it helps slow down my brain. There are a lot of things that's talked about when it comes to weed, but personally, I have used it to heal myself. When I smoke it a lot, I know that something is going on, because eventually I would stop when I am focused on something. So now that I'm doing this and I'm getting back to speaking up, and I have something to look forward to, I don't have time to smoke because I am so preoccupied with researching what to post, researching what to talk about, researching my experiences so I can share them. So for me, it's healing. Or if there are times where I go deep into reflection and I go deep into meditation. Before I meditate, I would smoke. I don't smoke a lot. I don't wrap blunt or anything. I have a one hitter, which is very small, and I just do one hit, just the buzz, to get myself into a meditative state. Some people need it, some people don't. I do. You have to know yourself and know what you need. So I will do that, get into deep reflection, get into deep meditation. That is also a time that I will drink a lot of herbal teas, which is why I am in TLC, because these are the products that they sell. But at the same time, doing that tea, just like Coach Stormy would do it, I would add, like, mint and herbs into it, or boil the water with ginger and lemon. And I will drink a lot of tea, so smoke a little bit of weed, get the buzz, and all day I can be in a very reflective and meditative state. And when I get out of it, that's when I'm able to do these things. So for me, weed has been healing. Of course, initially I abused it, but now it's very different. So people experience depression very, very differently. You might be depressed, like a time that I experienced it, and I was in a fog. There was a veil. Yesterday I talked about lifting the veil. There was a veil. I was in a fog, right? I was depressed, severely depressed. I had no idea what I was doing. This is not long ago. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. To this day, I cannot tell you the things that I did because I will get up in the morning or any time during the day. I will get dressed. I would look good, take care of myself. I would go take my daughter to school, pick her up from school. I would do everything that I have to do in a fog. I have no idea what I did after picking my daughter up, bringing her home, making her food to eat. That's all I knew that I did. Anything else that I did, I had no idea. Now, in my neighborhood, it has happened that issues have happened, toxic relationships where I've been ostracized. But then again, these are people who have never been on their healing journey. They have not changed. We attract the people that we're used to having in our family. So now I can see that I attracted them and I brought them into my life. I don't blame them, but I wasn't healed enough to see who they are. Right? So I had no idea I was depressed. When I had my daughter, I was depressed severely. Her father was severely depressed. We were both depressed and abusing drugs. And I have to say that out loud, you know. Now, my daughter is a blessing to me because having her woke a lot of things within myself, right? Because I've always said when I have a daughter, I'm not going to raise her the way that I was raised. So she helped me get to that point of really making it happen to not be like my parents. Having her before marriage is a generational thing in my family. So these are all things that you need to see. Anyway, let me go back to depression. Before I stay here for another 3 hours. Yesterday I spoke for 2 hours, 30 minutes. And that's amazing to me because I have never been able to do that. So what causes depression? Several factors contribute to the presentation of depression. Several factors bring in depression. With biological, from your parents, generations, right? Environmental, who is around you, who are the people around you, how do they act, how do they make you feel, how do they behave, how do they talk to you. Environmental and chemical, their abusing drugs can make you depressed. Chemical differences in the individuals, right? How common is depression? Depression is incredibly common. So if you go to choosing therapy, you will see it. Depression versus sadness, which are two very different things. You can be sad and not depressed. Now, society would always say, "Oh, I'm so." Some people would say, "I'm so depressed today." No, if you really experience depression, is very different from just being day to day sad. All people experience sadness, but not all people experience depressive disorders. If someone loses their job, ends in a relationship, or loses a loved one, sadness is expected. You can wake up sad, you can wake up happy. I mean, your mood is up to you. You can change your mood, change your physiology, like Tony Robbins would say, but you can wake up sad. That doesn't make you depressed. Depression versus sadness is different due to the intensity, right? The intensity of being depressed, and the duration of the symptoms of how it feels to be depressed. Never believe anybody who tells you that there is no depression in Africa and that depression is only in the West. And if you're black, you're not depressed. Or the fact that people tell you, um, because you're depressed, you're weak. These are all the stigmas that we need to break, because these are not true. These are not real. What Happened to You, which is a book by Oprah Winfrey, and this other doctor that I can't remember. When you look at someone, always think. Don't think what is wrong with you. Think what happened to you. Let me change. I forgot that this is still there. Stop sharing. Think what happened to them, because if you're able to think what happened to this person, you can also be able to think what happened to me. But if you're thinking what's wrong with them, that means that you are always thinking about yourself as to what is wrong with you. I had that mentality of what is wrong with me. I am so stupid. I am so bad. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Andrew Tate would say, you are a loser. You're a loser, but don't identify as a loser, because you can change your life. You are a loser, but you don't want to be a loser. Take the steps necessary, right? Let's go. Depression versus grief. Sadness, anger, and despair are normal, unexpected reactions when a loved one dies or a person experiences some form of loss. You break up with someone, you can experience that. But being in toxic relationships can make you depressed, or you're probably already depressed before you get into that toxic relationships. The only thing that's happening in the toxic relationship is that they are triggering your trauma, which is why it is important to be around people who talk to your soul instead of people who trigger your pain points. Eckhart Tolle, or Eckhart Tolle, calls it the pain body. Look that up too. The pain body. People that talk to your pain body are triggering you and taking you down the rabbit hole. People that talk to your soul, talk to your very being, make you feel empowered and uplifted, they are healing you. But we don't gravitate towards them if we haven't done the healing journey. We gravitate to the people that we attract. Toxicity, like I always say, toxicity is exciting. So there are different types of depression. Look that up. Let's look at the symptoms of depression. Depressed mood, right? Feelings of emptiness. There's a hole, there's a void. Sadness, hopelessness, irritability, feeling hopeless. There's also something called learned helplessness. You feel hopeless. You feel helpless. You feel like nothing is going to change. You have this feeling because for years you have tried to make things happen and nothing's going well. Irritability, everything irritates you. I always know something's wrong when my daughter irritates me. And so I would have to step back and look at myself. Decrease pleasure and interest in previously enjoyed activities. Don't mistake that with leveling up, with being better. Obviously, when you're growing mentally and you're leveling up and you're being better, things will change. Some friends will drop off. Some people will get out of your life. Things you used to do, you would not do it anymore. Parties and all of those other things, past friends and family that you had, you might not connect with them anymore. That is different from being depressed. Pleasure and interest in previously enjoyed activities. This is something I enjoy doing. This is something I love. I do not like talking. I am very introverted. I can sit in a room and be completely silent. But here, I can speak for hours. When I don't have the feeling of doing this, I am getting into a depressive mood. Like I mentioned before, I love my skin. I love taking care of my skin. Right now, I am using Perfect Storm Collection. The link is in the bio and in the description box. But when I let go of my skin and it has that ashy look, ashy and dusty, and then I have, I'm reviving my skin with Perfect Storm. And then I have all of these, right? I think you could see better on YouTube, and I have all of these coming on. Depression. I know something's happening. Something's not right. Because these are things I love doing. Right? I love African spirituality. I love doing personal development every day. That's all I listen to. But when I'm not able to do that and listen to those things every day, something's wrong. I love exercising, taking a walk, walking in the sun, at the sand, walking bare feet. When I'm not doing that, something is wrong. So you have to look at that in your life, how it is manifested. It's different for everybody. And noteworthy weight change. I just spoke about that. Or a significant change in appetite. Are you eating more? Are you emotionally eating? Or are you eating less like me? Right? I gained weight a little because I wanted to gain back my weight. I wanted to be size 6'8" again. I love that size for me. I enjoy being size 6 and 8. Now I am back to that size. Bye bye. I'll see you. The recording is there whenever you want to come back. DM me, comment any questions, and I would answer them. All right. A noteworthy weight change or a significant change in appetite. I personally, like I was saying, I love my weight. I love being this weight. I love being size 8, size 6 to 8. One of the reasons that I'm using the TLC products, and you can find the links to everything that I use in my bio and in the description box, is because I like to tone my body. I like to maintain my body. Right? I love looking like this. This as well, this boomerang mic. I love this mic. I'm using it for Instagram. You can find the link in the description box or in my bio. This mic is different, though. This mic was a gift from somebody who didn't understand that I was growing and I can smell the toxicity. Right, let's go on. Depression, sleeping too much or too little throughout the day. When you're depressed, sleeping too much or too little throughout the day, right? I was that. I sometimes I would sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. And then sometimes I cannot sleep. I can stay up all night. And I didn't understand this when I was in the Gambia, because that was happening to me so much when I was in the Gambia. Oh my God. I was painfully depressed when I was in the Gambia. So I wasn't able to sleep. And what would happen is that I would stay up most of the night, but that is also glorified. That's different from working all night, right? That's very different from working all night. Give me a moment. I am pinning this message on my YouTube so that people can see all the products that I use is on that link. I used to sleep a lot when I'm depressed. And then when I was in the Gambia that I couldn't understand, I could stay up all night and then wake up in the morning and continue what I was doing like nothing happened. Even when I came to America, I was doing the same thing. I could stay up all night, but that's also glorified. I couldn't say that I didn't understand that I was in pain. I didn't understand that there was trauma, there was depression, because the people around me, nobody was talking about it, and I think majority of them were depressed anyway. Now, feeling or looking sped up or slowed down in behaviors, which I talked about the differences, how it manifests in people. Some people, when they're depressed, they get very extroverted all over the place. Some people, when they're depressed, they're very quiet. I am both. I start being, "Ah," and then I just go, right? I start up and then I just crash down. So you need to look at how it manifests into your life. Loss of energy. You have no energy. Generally, we are energized. We're people that are energized. So if you have absolutely no energy, you have no energy, you're eating too much, you're sleeping too much or sleeping too little, a lot of things have changed. Now, do not mistake it from elevating and leveling up your life. Research it, what you're going through. Find you a therapist. Find you somebody who studied this. Right? Don't just go to WebMD, WebMD, but even on YouTube, you will find therapists and people who are talking about this. I hope to one day connect with them so we can share the links and then talk about them and get things going so people can understand it, right? Don't mix it up. Feeling worthless or guilty, especially if you have always felt guilty in your life, if you felt ostracized, if you felt, probably get a card from African Goddess Rising. If you've always felt guilty, if you've always felt worthless in your life, if your family themselves have never made you feel worthy of who you are, if you've always felt not enough. I talked about all of this in my video. The other one, what is it called again? The filters, the mental filters, seeing past our filters. If you are able, if you, not if you're able, if you can look back into your childhood and into your life to understand that the way that you were raised, your family, your mom, your dad, the things that you were told, maybe you never felt enough. You never feel that you're worthy of being rich. You're worthy of having money. You're worthy of being better, right? You're worthy of changing your life. You're worthy of having a family, a healthy relationship, wonderful husband, amazing kids, all of this. If you don't feel worthy of the good things in life, and some of us think, and I'll say it in terms of feeling guilty, and let me, yeah, some of us um, uh, think a lot of things are only for white people. Some of us think that meditation, being rich, having money, traveling the world, living large, is for white people. Feeling unworthy, maybe because we have never seen that representation in our communities and in our families. I know I was that person. Now, I didn't think it was just for them, but even though I've always been in white spaces, and my daughter is biracial, I still didn't feel worthy. Why? Because my mother, and I've said this before, had a lot of backlash from it. Didn't have people who can help me understand what that is. My mother always said that God blessed white folks. Now look in your family. What do they think? Do they worship white Jesus? Um, Is everything that's good considered to be white? I remember one time I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and we were making a fire. We're building a fire. That is something I've done my entire life from the Gambia at home. Like my grandmother, what she would do is she would build, we would make fire. We call it furno in Wolof. We had huge ones, huge furnos, and we will put some wood because we used firewood. We'll put the wood together, put it in the furno stove. Do you call that stove? And it's not the indoor stove, fire pit maybe, but that's not a fire pit. We use it to cook as well. I don't know, furno. So we'll put the firewood in it and light it and make fire on the chilly days in Gambia and sit by the fire, to warm ourselves up, eat some food and talk. And so the same thing I was doing in Nashville, Tennessee, because I visit there often. And then I took a picture and sent it to someone that I knew back then. We've lost contact now. And then she got back to me and said, "You're being white. You're doing white people things." And I'm like, "White people things? No, no, this is part of my culture. I used to do this since I was a child. I used to do this since I was a child." Right? So you have to look at in your family, the way that you were raised. If you feel unworthy, if you feel guilty about things, where did that come from? What are the things that you were told? I always talk about how I was always running away from myself. I was always running away from who I was. And that entailed running away from anybody who looked like me. Being in New York City or being in America as a whole, connecting with different family members, and having terrible experiences with family, I used to run away from African communities. Now it's different because now when I see Africans, right, if they're willing to talk to me, I would share some of my experiences, and some of them will go, "Oh my God, I had that happen to me. This, and that." The other day, I was just speaking to a guy at the store. He's from Senegal, and I was telling her that coming to America here and having a 9 to 5 job is something that Africans get trapped into. And the people that get trapped into that more is African men, especially all around the European world. Wherever you go, exploitation of labor of African men, it's huge. Right? I was telling him that, and he mentioned how just him by being in that store and working there, he sees a lot of African people and they don't talk to him. And I said, yeah, they're not talking to you because they don't want to talk to you. They're not talking to you because of the trauma that they went through. And maybe they never healed, because I went through that, running away from people, but I was running away from myself. Right? I love this bottle so much. And the company, it's your bottle. I want to talk about your bottle. Sponsor me. Sponsor me. Let's work together. I love this bottle. So beautiful and sexy. And I love the color. Wherever I see it, I buy it because I love it so much. So he was saying, sorry for wiping my nose so much. I'm not sure what is happening. I might be probably releasing a lot of things now that I'm doing these lives and talking about my experiences. A lot of things are releasing, and also from the cleansing that I'm doing, with TLC, the 15-day challenge. You can check the links that I have, and also the new watermelon tea, which is part of the new wave. I've been trying that as well. So I've been cleansing and releasing and letting go of things, and they come out from everywhere. It's 1111. What is the meaning of 1111? Angel number. Angel number 1111. 1111 is a very high vibration number that communicates confirmation, especially as it pertains to spiritual discovery and journeying. That is so true. I identify and relate with that. Let me see if I can see an image of something else too. 1111, on the right path. You are absolutely on the right path. A huge divine synchronicity, a symbol of true prosperity, abundance, and visions coming true. Manifestations are truly effortless right now. You are living your true purpose or are close to discovering it. Keep your energy high and bright. New beginnings, a sign from a deceased loved one. Ancestors, if you believe in that, I do. I was just thinking about my grandmother yesterday and my grandfather, the three of them. I was thinking about them yesterday. A sign from a deceased loved one. Hard work and effort are about to pay off. I deeply relate to that. And if you do relate to that, right? So let's go to the last bulletin before we look into the article that I was talking about, choosing a positive mental attitude, right? The last bulletin of the symptoms is thinking about death, dying, or suicide. Let's recap. Symptoms of depression: depressed mood with feelings of emptiness, sadness, hopelessness, or irritability. Decreased pleasure and interest in previously enjoyed activities. A noteworthy weight change or a significant change in appetite, very different from cleansing or dieting. Sleeping too much or too little throughout the day, or even at night, not being able to sleep at all. To me, it was usually at night I wouldn't be able to sleep. Feeling or looking sped up or slowed down in behaviors. This is my natural, normal energy. When I'm too extroverted, I know something's not right. But at the same time, when I'm so slow that it feels like I just smoked a bowl of weed, something's not right. This is my normal energy. Loss of energy. Absolutely no energy. I showed a picture before of me just, sleeping constantly and being in bed. Feeling worthless or guilty. How do you feel about yourself or about the people around you? Thinking about death, dying, or suicide, suicidal ideation. Do you constantly think about that? I was suicidal for a long time. Right, that's the last bulletin on that, and then we will go to um, choosing a positive mental attitude. I was suicidal for a long time and did not even know that I was suicidal until I started listening to Andrew Tate, Copper Tate, and Coach Stormy Wellington, which is why I am in both their communities to understand why are these things happening to me? Why do I feel this way? So you have to look at that in your life, right? So let's go to the article because there are 20 how to have a positive mental attitude, 20 no nonsense tips. This is from A Conscious Rethink. This beautiful black woman. This pictures here. Most successful people have worked very hard to achieve their goals. It's no coincidence that a positive mental attitude is a common characteristic among successful people. There's a book called, Choosing a Positive Mental Attitude. Thinking Big. All of these are about positive mental attitude. Think and Grow Rich, right? If you look at What's an African book that I've read about it? I haven't really. But there are a lot of African people too who talk about that. If you look, Lisa Nichols talk about it. Coach Stormy Wellington talk about that. Andrew Tate, Cobra Tate talks about that. Right? Let's the fourth one. Oh no, the benefits of a positive mental attitude. It can help you achieve your goals and be more successful, confident, and engaged at work. What I am doing right now. When I was a negative Nancy, I couldn't do this. Perfectionism. At work, a positive mental attitude makes you more productive and efficient. Right now, I feel very at home. But when I'm anxious, I'm all over the place. The impact of having a negative mental attitude. A negative mental attitude can lead to much more serious mental and physical health challenges, such as depression. It can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and low self esteem. Now, you also have to look at in your there's a voice in our head, all of us. There's a voice. Christianity, they say, hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. African spirituality, which Christianity and African spirituality is not much of a difference if you go back to learn the history of what has happened, right? And religion and all of that. And in African spirituality, um, we talk about hearing the voice of the ancestors. But in order to hear that, you have to understand what's going on in your head. Whose voice is in your head? Who's talking in your head? Whose negative voice are you hearing in your head? Because your own voice is the very little voice. It is the voice of the ancestors. It is the voice of the Holy Spirit. Is the voice of Allah speaking to you. The voice of Muhammad is the voice of Buddha speaking to you. All these people talking to you. And if you can't hear their voice, then there's a negative voice in your head, and you have to understand where it comes from. Your attitude is the choice, right? Can you change your attitude? Your attitude is your choice. How you act, how you behave is your choice. But if you are from a traumatizing environment, adverse childhood experiences, then you think everything is external and nothing is your fault. The victim. Some people call it victim. That's where you're a victim and then being a dick about it. You are a victim, right? So your attitude is your choice. Your mood is your choice. Your emotions is your choice. But you have to learn how to tap into that power of self-awareness and being able to control your emotions and being able to control yourself in what you do in your day-to-day life. Then you're able to choose how you feel, how you act, how you behave. Choose your attitude, right? Somebody outside of you doesn't dictate how you feel. And even when you get triggered, you're able to bring yourself down. Like I was triggered yesterday, but I was able to bring myself down to the point of choosing this topic to talk about it today. While you cannot control everything that happens to you in life, you can certainly control the way you react. You cannot control other people. You cannot control what other people do. If you want to think about controlling other people, control yourself first. Then you can do that with other people. But you cannot control other people. You get to decide whether your attitude will be positive or negative. Your attitude will be positive or negative. You can decide that if you have the self awareness. It's possible. But you need to get on that road of understanding yourself. Being around communities of people, right, who speak to your soul. I did that. Felt a little hood and ratchet, but I love it. I love being hood and holy. Real Kim talks about that, hood and holy. And then on black Twitter, I saw hood and hotep. Ashra goddess talk about being ratchet and cute, right? But you can choose your thoughts. You can choose how you feel. You can choose how you act. If you go deep into self-reflection, the tips, the actions, the things that you need to do, accept yourself. Be yourself. Don't change who you are just to justify other people. People pleasing. My last video, I went into that. It's okay if your thoughts and feelings are different than others. What you do, how you feel, like me being on this live. I am not. I am not. I cannot copy Coach Stormy's energy. I cannot copy Andrew Tate's energy. This is my energy. This is how I feel good explaining and talking. And for a long time, the reason I was in life was that I think I had to be this extroverted blah blah blah, blah person until being in the real world and the new campus that we have, which is the content creation campus, um, the UGC campus, user generated campus. We talk about energy, and having energy is not being extroverted. Having energy is being yourself, but also adding some intensity to it, which is something that I can do, right? I can talk like that, but I have always had that facade of trying to be like Coach Stormy before I even knew about Coach Stormy, being the person that's like, oh my God, hey, hello. I am not that. I want to be. I love people who are like that, but that's not me. And so, me speaking up is giving voice to the people who relate to my energy, right? Be true to who you are. Don't behave in ways that are not authentic to your true self just to make other people happy. Wearing a facade, thinking that you have to be a certain way for to be accepted, to belong. I saw a quote where it says that if you feel like you don't belong, maybe you're doing something right. Look in your family who's like that. And I talked about that too, in the filter, lifting the veil, the filter, where I've always been pushed to be extroverted. And because I was young, didn't know myself, didn't know who I was, I adopted that facade. My mother has that facade. A lot of people in my family have that facade of trying to be who we're not. And that is the generational cause, right? Listen to music to help your mental well-being. Choosing a positive mental attitude. Listen to music, not just any music, uplifting, conscious music. I love reggae. Reggae music is my music. Conscious reggae music, roots reggae, because it's my energy. It's calm. It's like it puts you in a trance like feeling. It's very conscious. The words are uplifting. They are also teaching you when you listen to reggae. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't like some trap songs. I don't like people like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. I don't listen to them, but I tap into their energy. Right? If you go to Cardi B's Twitter, she has in her bio, in your head, rent free. If you go on my Instagram, I have that, in your head, rent free. So I tap into their energy, even though I might not listen or relate to their music, but I love them. Same goes to a lot of African artists and a lot of African people when it comes to the arts, movies. Ini Ido, I love Ini, right? I love her energy. I love her demeanor. I've watched her movies growing up. I think she's aging backwards. Some of the things that she wear, I might not have the at this point in my life. I might not have the I don't know how to call it to wear that, but I probably eventually will. Right? So listen to music. What music suits your soul? What is the music that puts you in that mood of joy, of happiness, of loving yourself, of loving who you are, your inner being, tapping into all of those things? What does music do to you? What types of music and movies? Things like that. But it's a matter of being intentional of what you listen to and what you do. Studies suggest that even listening to sad songs can make you feel better. Now, don't go down the rabbit hole of sad songs, right? Because that can make you even sadder. Sad songs can trigger memories that help distract you from what's currently stressing you out. But let it not be memories that will take you down the rabbit hole again, right? And then the third tip is try deep breathing exercise. Find places to do breath work. Even on Instagram, on YouTube, you might find short videos, long videos that will help you do breath work. All right, go into Zen centers, Buddhist centers, monasteries, not just because you want to convert to that, no, but to tap into the work they do, because they also talk about breath work. They teach you breathing deep and then things like that, Reiki. Find something, find your way, find these things that will help you breathe. Because yesterday, well, I did the video yesterday, you know, lifting the veil, that video that I did. I talk about how when you breathe in, when you're aware of your breath and focus on your breath, you don't think. When you're continuously thinking and overthinking, you cannot be aware of your breath. Right? I was talking about myth of multitasking. I couldn't post the video on YouTube. I'm sorry, but I have it on Instagram. So we cannot think and breathe and be aware of our breath. Well, we can think and breathe, but we cannot be thinking, be aware of our thoughts, and be aware of our breath at the same time, right? When you're aware of your breath and you're doing breath work and you're breathing, that helps you, that helps the mind subside, the thoughts, the negative thoughts calm down. Breath work is important when it comes to choosing a positive mental attitude, because when you're aware of your breath, that's it. When you're able to do that, I talk about it in the pause, the when I did the how purposeful pauses will change your life or will change your day. Being aware of your breath. Check your diet, which is why I do the work that I do. I do what I do because I understand the power of your diet. The power, I don't think on YouTube I can share. I would have loved to share. Yes, I would have loved to share, what I do. But if you look at my bio, if you look at the description box, you will see the work that I do with TLC, which is looking at your diet. Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to lose 5 pounds just for the beginning, right? Are you looking to make more money? These are things that I do and I talk about because I use these products. I just finished my NutriBurst, and the good thing about this supplement is a dietary supplement. It is equals to 10 bowls of salad. I love salad. I eat salad every day unless I don't have it. I have no problem buying salad. $20 a bowl of salad, I will buy it because I love salad. Right? I'll make salad at home. I'll go to the store and buy pre-made salad and then come home and remake it. And this is equals to 10 bowls of salad. Your diet. Do you need your energy to be at the same level? I have NRG. All links in my bio. But check in your diet. How do you eat? It goes back to what we talk about when it came to depression, right? Are you eating too little or are you eating a lot? Are you eating emotionally? So you need supplements that can help you. Even if you don't get what I use, find you something, but natural. Make it natural. Let it be natural supplements, not just any supplements, but natural that will help you, that you can start to see instant results, right? I'm not going to tell people to go plant based or not to go plant based, but you can mix them. You can mix vegetarian, vegan, plant-based diets. All of these can help. Meat, some people say is unhealthy, some people say is healthy. I eat meat, but if you are in the West, be mindful of the meat that you eat and where you get it, right? I didn't know what organic products are. Where? I had to ask when I first came to America. I'm getting used to the camera, so I tend to look down here, right? I had to ask what is organic, because me coming from the Gambia, we don't talk about organic. We go to the market. You go to the market and you see the local people in the community selling the produce from their gardens. That's what we're used to, which is why now where I'm at, I am part of the community garden, and we don't sell the produce, we give it away. But during the summer, there is another garden that is not far from us. They sell their produce. So I would go there and buy their produce if I need something, right? And then sometimes I'll buy from them and then take the produce from our community garden and we give it away in the community. So, what are you eating? You are what you eat. Your mind is what you eat. And what you eat can influence how you think. Oh, I see the post of FedEx. My I am waiting for my supply um, of supplements that I just showed you, because I finished. This is finished. My energy. Let me show you. I feel good today. Don't I look beautiful? I love this outfit. My daughter say whenever I wear this, it looks like Mickey Mouse. But I love this dress. I hope that they brought my supplements because I ran out. Right? This is the brew tea. We can do a video. I can do a video. You can message me. You can comment anywhere. I respond to the comments, right? Some people don't. There are lessons of why we don't we should not comment or respond, but I respond. And when I am not able to respond, I have no problem hiring virtual assistants so that all your questions will be answered, because I know how it feels to need help and not have anybody to talk to. So this is the brewed tea that you brew to help you detox if you're losing weight, right? If you want to lose weight, if you're like me and you're not losing weight and all you want to do is to maintain your health, one of my favorite products, you can use this as well, right? One of my favorite products when it comes to that is this one. These are my supplies. I use them. We have to sell these, but I use them for myself because I love them. This is the fruit punch, and you can drink it as tea. I drank it as tea. So in choosing a positive mental attitude, what you eat is so important, right? What you eat, what you consume, what you put in yourself, because what you put in you is what shows out. If you're putting trash in you, trash shows out, right? All the products that I need, I have. We talked about energy. This is the one I use. I ran out. And I kept it here so that when I talk about it, I show people that I actually used it. This is the NRG. And this helps me just maintain my energy. I'm not new to this. I've always used these products. I drink coffee every single day, and I don't drink coffee to have energy or to wake up. NRG helps me just maintain my energy. The Delgado coffee, on the other hand, is another supplement because for me, being healthy is so important. And I drink coffee every day. I actually want to own my own coffee store in the Gambia, West Africa, because that's where I want to be my base. I want to go back home. I use Delgado coffee for that, right? Because it helps me get in that mood of feeling better, of feeling well. If you're losing weight, it helps. If you're not, it helps you maintain, right? Let's continue. Choosing a mental attitude. The fourth tip was check your diet, which is why I do what I do, because as I mentioned, I have chronic depression. I have had chronic depression, been depressed my entire life, traumatizing incidences. If you look up adverse childhood experiences, which I constantly talk about, because in our communities and in our communities of people who look like me, wherever you are, these are not issues that are being talked about, right? The well-educated people already probably know about adverse childhood experiences, but then we have to bring it in to our people. Now, if you look at the line or the numbers of adverse childhood experiences, I've experienced everything. Where are you located? I am in New York City. I'm in New York City right now, but I hope to move to Miami because I want to be closer to Coach Stormy and then eventually go back to the Gambia. That's where I want my base to be, my work. Gambia and Jamaica. So the fifth one is don't resist change. Ooh, don't resist change. Why this is important is because okay, let me say it. You are Jamaican. Oh, pleasure to meet you. Let's connect more. I have always located in city. Nice, nice, nice. I have always loved Rastafarian culture before I learned and understood that my culture and Rastafarian culture is the same. My country, the Gambia, is called Little Jamaica. So from as young as 8 or even younger than that, I always said that I am going to live in Jamaica. And still I want to do that. I want to live in Jamaica for 2 years. You just joined TLC. That's wonderful. My coach is Coach Brittany Turner. Look her up. Coach Brittany Turner. She is powerful. She is directly under Coach Stormy. She's one of the best so far, and the team on the Coach Stormy talk about her a lot, so connect with her as well. Yeah, so growing up, no, I my culture is Rastafarian culture. Yours is Natalie Nicole. Nice. I love Natalie. She's wonderful. I watch her videos on YouTube. And so all of these things, if you don't know, you don't know. I'm just connected with someone on Instagram, so many things in common, right? So these are so important when we start sharing our stories. It's important. Getting to that point is not easy. It took me years to get here. 9 years to be able to sit here and talk about my story. Don't resist change. If I resisted change, I will not be able to sit here to talk to you. Everything is change. One of the things that really changed my life in understanding what change is. Now, I don't remember who said this, but they said that when you leave your living room and you go to your kitchen, that's a change of environment. When you leave the kitchen, you go to the bathroom, to the bedroom. That is a change of scenery, change of energy, change of environment, right? Because the energy in the bathroom, in the toilet, it's different from the energy in the kitchen. That's different from the energy in your living room, different from your backyard, the bedroom. All those energies are different. But if we are on autopilot, we cannot see that change, right? For me, and the story that I wanted to say, which I've said before, is that I was always surrounded by people who were not changing. And if you were changing things in your life, you were either mocked, teased, or ostracized, right? People don't believe in you. Oh, you're doing that now, or that's what you're doing now. Oh, you changed. And there's a quote that say, yes, I changed because I'm supposed to. And others say, yes, I changed. Why are you not changing? So nothing stays the same. The only thing that's real is change. Moji Baba talks about this. A lot of spiritual teachers talk about this, that the only thing real is change. You have to change. You need to change. We change every day. Every day you are a different person. Every day you're somebody different. Whether you're sad, whether you're happy, you're depressed, you're anxious. It's a change. You change your clothes, you change your name. I have changed my name. My mother named me Yama. I changed it to Mariama. I have used the name Firefly for a long time. Now I'm using the Empress Fire. Change, change. Each name I change or use goes with my mentality. So change is what we have. Everything is changing. It's also part of being adaptable, which is what I love in being in the real world and being under Andrew Tate and learning from him. You can find the link, in my bio and in the description box. The most powerful lesson there that they teach every single day is adaptability. They don't babysit us. They make it very chaotic for us, so we have to adapt, right? I joined right around the time that Tate was arrested. That's when I joined. And that time changed my mentality and it changed my life, because one of the lessons that we were being taught was, if you can make it in chaos, within the noise, if you can make it in this time of difficulty, then it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, you can adapt and you can change. That's why I'm in these communities, right? And the next community that I'm joining to learn about coaching and to just refine my skills in talking to my people is Grant Cardone's coaching uh, community. So help me, guys, buy my product so I can get there and be able to speak to you more. Sponsor me, help me. I have so much to give. Like Oprah would say, um, I am full of myself to the point that my cup runneth over. And I can feel your cup. I'm ready to feel your cup. And the sixth one is use positive language. Use positive language about yourself, the way you talk. I cuss, even though it doesn't go well with my personality. Many times I use cuss words. When the video I was doing yesterday, lifting the filters, I used quite a number of cuss words of shit and fuck and I know I've been told many a times it doesn't go with my personality, but I talk like that. But how do you call yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you internally, your internal voice, the internal speech that you have inside of you, what do you say to yourself? These are very important, right? But at the same time, the people that you're around, what language do they use? The music that you listen to, what language? When we see so many rappers be either killed from gun violence, right? Or um being arrested and all of this. Yes, discrimination plays a part of it, but what are the language that they are listening to every single day? Are they listening to things about killing them, killing each other, killing things, killing that? The movies that we watch, what are the images that we see? Representation. Change the way you talk about yourself. You are not a failure. You're learning a lesson. Who the light, the person that everybody talks about when it comes to the light, the lamp, who said that I found thousand ways that didn't work and one way that works. I paraphrase that, but you might figure out who I'm talking about, right? For me, I have always seen myself as a failure. I've always seen myself as a loser. I have always seen myself as not enough, hated myself, did not like myself. So obviously, I had a negative mindset about myself and I spoke about myself negatively. And now I changed that. The way we frame unpleasant situation matters a lot. Mondays, how do you feel about Mondays, right? You don't have to go to work. You get to go to work. It's not, oh my God, I have to wake up today. It's, I get to wake up today. I am not dead. So many people did not wake up. Be excited about life. Be excited about who you are and what you do. But you need to do the self reflection. How do you speak to yourself? Change your views of failure. The same thing. How do you see failure? Failure is a part of life. Perfectionism. YouTube, you can check the community post, it's there. Instagram, I made a post about it. You can see it, and you can find me on any platforms, and I talk about these issues every day. Perfectionism, I was a perfectionist because that is the way that I was raised, right? My mother saw me as somebody who needed to know everything that I didn't know as a child, so I had to be perfect, right? So how were you raised? What were you told? I say that over and over because your childhood has a lot to do with the way that you see yourself. Am I able to do this? Messed it up a little. Yes, how you see yourself. The next one, change your views about failure, self reflection. If you look back to all the things that I talked about, you will see that, I talk about self reflection a lot, reflecting back to your childhood and the way that you were raised. The next one is use the mirror technique. Use the mirror technique. This is something I have learned from a lot of powerful people, but I particularly got this from Lisa Nichols. What was it? Is it this speak to inspire or the other speaking to motivate? But I got this from Lisa Nichols, and it's the mirror technique something. You can find it on her, and it says, you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, I am proud that, and you write 7 things. It's one of her classes. I am proud that you did all you wanted to do. I am proud that you won Face of the Gambia. I did win that. I am proud that you gave birth to a beautiful daughter, my daughter. I am proud that you take control of your life. I am proud that you cut off your family finally, because it took me years to understand that I had to let my family go. And these are things that I have to say in the mirror. Now, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. And I'm not saying that I am good at it. I'm not saying that I do it every day. I am saying this is a technique that would help you. Look in the mirror. Andrew Tate sometimes will tell guys, look in the mirror and genuinely look at yourself. If you were a woman with all the choices that you have, would you date yourself? I mean, he used a much more vulgar language, but I just talked about using positive language. But he would say, look in the mirror, stand in front of the mirror, and genuinely look at yourself and ask yourself, if you were a woman, and this goes to women too, ask yourself, if you were a man with all the options that you have in the world, would you fuck you? This is how Tate puts it, but it is so true. Would you? Me knowing what I know now, looking back in my life, I knew that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. If I was a man, I wouldn't date me. So the mirror technique is powerful. I am proud that I have the courage to heal my ancestors. I found my voice. And then the second part is, I forgive you for, this one is a hard one. I forgive you for not knowing. I forgive you for being born in the family that you have. I've always been ashamed of my family, not liking my family, which is why now my vision is to create a home for people who never felt at home. All right? I forgive myself for trusting my parents for guidance. I trusted that my parents knew. I trusted that if people are older than me, they knew better than I did. And I had to learn the hard way that it is not so. It is not so. Because some of the things that I'm telling you, my own mother doesn't know. So age doesn't matter. I forgive you for seeking validation, attention. Childhood traumas, adverse childhood experiences, always seeking the validation and the love of your parents. That makes it possible for you to go out there and seek validation, acceptance, and belonging from people outside of yourself. To seek and even far away from your own creator, whatever you believe, the Holy Spirit, Allah, Jesus, Black Jesus, Muhammad, Black Muhammad, African Muhammad, Buddhism, Buddha, all of that, seeking it away from who you are. I forgive you for losing yourself and being distracted from your goals. Easily lose myself, people pleasing, being not being connected with my needs. Right? How does that manifest in your life? And then the last one for the mirror technique. For forgive you for all the self-destructive habits you had. We see a lot of people with self-destructive habits, and then we think, oh, what is wrong with them? We have to change that to what happened to them. Why do they have self-destructive habits? Look at me, as beautiful and gorgeous that I am sitting here today. You would never believe that I would choose self-destructive habits, but I did for a long time. Why? To feed the pain, the emptiness, the void that is in my heart that my parents never felt. And you can only feel that with your spirituality, with whatever you believe in God. There's one God, one source. But wherever your destination is, that's how you can feel yourself. Not with external validation, not with food, not with sex. None of that is going to feel you. All of those are a part of self destructive habits. I have indulged in all of them to feel the void that my parents never felt. And the mirror work, the last section, the third one, the first one is I am proud that. And the second one is I forgive you for. And the third one is I commit to you that, the commitment that I've made to myself. And one of them is to follow Coach Stormy's schedule, right? Monday to Friday, we have meditation. Wake Up and Win is every Monday. My coach, Brittany Turner, she goes live Monday to Friday. I am following their schedule and I'm being committed to that, to document my journey. I'm committed to the real world, to the content creation campus, the things that they are learning, they're teaching us, for me to learn them and implement them. Half of the things that you see me doing here, I learned there, and I'm still refining, my skills, learning to edit advertisement, ad for myself, right? Money making activities. Coach Stormy calls them income producing activities. So I commit to you that we will be the richest woman in history. The richest woman, not the richest black woman, not the richest woman in Africa, not the richest black woman in America, the richest woman in history. I commit to you that we will be the most influential woman in history. I commit to you that I will love and cherish myself. I will love and cherish myself. I will never be broke again another day in my life. That is one of Coach Stormy's mantras. I will only be around people who care, which is why I am in the real world and I'm planning to build my own team there, right? Because depending on how much money I am able to bring in, if you watch Andrew Tate, all he talks about is money in, that's business. If you're able to bring in money, you know how to do business. So I'm planning to create my own team of people there who relate to the things that I talk about. People who never felt at home and they need a home. I had to be the mother that I needed when I was growing up. And so I want to pass on that knowledge to people who need it. I commit to you that I will be healthy, wealthy, and feminine. I've always run away from my femininity. Always ran away from my femininity because I've never been around someone who embraced their femininity. I love the things that Andrew Tate talks about because he uplifts feminine women. He's all about femininity. And just hearing him speak was like, I know what he is talking about femininity. These were things I could never tap into. But given the way I was raised, I thought that a man will not want me if I was this soft, cool, calm, introverted woman that I am today. And the last one, I will break records and generational causes. That is my list for mirror talk, for the mirror technique. I wrote it and I put it in front of my binder, right? So I can read it. So find your way of how you can do your mirror technique. Let's go. Seems like I'm going to be here for another 2 hours again. Start journaling. I have my journal. And here I wrote what my goal is. Focus, the discipline that I want, right? I want to be on Coach Stormy and Andrew Tate's level. I don't want to walk for them. I want to walk with them, right? I want to do what they do in African communities on the continent of Africa. So this is my journal. I'm doing the 369 process, the 369 technique by Nikolai Tesla, the 369. You can look that up, right? So every day I write my goals. 3 in the morning, the alarm. 3 in the morning, I write my goal. No, in the morning, I write 3 of my goals. I'm thinking of morning prayers at 3 a.m. In the morning at 3 o'clock, help me. In the morning, I write my goals 3 times. In the afternoon, I write them 6 times. That's the alarm, right? It's around time for me to write it. And then at night, I write them 9 times. That's the 369 process. And the awakening is coming as I'm doing this live. And I want to be a diamond ticket holder with Coach Stormy. I want to have a diamond ticket. And so, diamond moves. I am the new rich girl. I align myself with greatness. I accept the mindset, moves, and responsibilities of what I want. I open my mind and heart to serve and pay my way to where I want to be. I love myself. I am proud of myself. My willingness to learn is 100%. Willingness to learn, I learned that from Your Wish is Your Command audio by Kevin Trudeau, another person who's also been taken to jail because of the things he talked about. So look that up. Right. So journal. Write your thoughts, write what you think, write how you feel, write what you're grateful for. The 10th tip is be present. Be present. When you're aware of your breath, you are present. Coach Stormy's group, Girl Hold My Hand, we meditate every day. Meditate every single day. We are doing meditation. Meditation helps you be present. Some people say I cannot meditate because my thoughts in my mind are running. That is a part of meditation. We wouldn't be meditating if we didn't have all these thoughts running in our mind. So when you sit to meditate and you're present, what happens is you're aware of what's going on in your head. Sometimes you follow the thoughts. What's important is the awareness that you followed the thoughts and you're back. Look into people like Eckhart Tolle, Moji Baba, Sadhguru. All these people talk about meditation. It is important in getting back to yourself. Find your way back. Listen to Beyonce's song, Find Your Way Back. Be present, be here, be now when you're talking to someone. I have to be present with you here now for me to be able to talk to you like this. If not, my thoughts will be running, right? If when I go off topic is because I have download. Some people call it download. Some people call it divine messages or just things that are just flowing. I don't have any script. I don't have anything prepared or written except an hour before I started the live. I was like, oh, let me look up an article to talk about choosing a positive mental attitude. And I found this one with the bullet points to just help you. The 11 point tip, avoid toxic positivity. One of the problems with the positivity movement is that it puts a positive spin on everything. Every situation or behavior, positive or negative, is lumped into together and praised. Everything is wonderful. You're great just the way you are. There is no need to change a thing. There is no acknowledgement of problematic behavior. Avoid toxic positivity. If you think, I am the way I am, take me or leave me, I am who I am never going to change. That can be toxic positivity. Overly people pleasing, overly wanting to do stuff for people, overly wanted to, whatever it is, you know, look up toxic positivity. Laugh. There's laughing yoga. There's the laughing Buddha. Being able to laugh at yourself first is important. You make a mistake, you're able to laugh at yourself. Life is not serious. It's not as serious as we make it to be. Life is not as serious as school makes us think that it is. Life is not as serious as society make us to believe. All that I'm saying is note to myself because I tend to be very serious, right? Even what I am doing now, I know it might be a little too intellectual for some people, but I am adapting, I am changing, right? I don't code switch. This is how I speak. If I have anything ratchet or hood, or yeah, ratchet hood, it's in Africa as well, the Gambia. If I have anything like that to say, I'm going to say it. If I feel like I'm going to cuss, I am going to cuss. So life is not serious as we make it. One of the reason I love Undertale, because he talks the way he talks. That's who he is. Even though you can see clearly how much he's growing mentally and emotionally, and the things he talk about just by watching his interview with Tucker Carlson. Laugh more. Not only is it a great stress reliever, but it also has many short and long-term benefits you probably weren't aware of. Laughing, it enhance your intake of oxygen, rich air, fire up and then cool down your stress response. When you talk to people, smile. I couldn't smile for a long time. I hated my smile. I hated my laugh. I would look in the mirror and not want to smile, but I would go there and unconsciously smile at people, and they would say, "Oh my God, keep smiling," right? Or when I take pictures, most of the time I am serious. Like I said, everything that I am talking about, I have lived, I have experienced, and I've studied. I'll be very serious. And then when I smile in pictures, photographers would go, "Oh, smile again, hold that smile, smile again, smile more." But I wouldn't smile. Laughing stimulates circulation and aid muscle relaxation. Your jaws, it relaxes. But even connecting and communicating with people, I see when I go outside and I just smile at someone, "Hi, hello," and I just smile. Some people would just ease up and would start. I would, have conversations with strangers out in the street. Why? Because I smiled, and then when people talk, I laugh. I love laughing. I'm getting it back. Um, I saw somewhere psychological facts, which those things can be crazy, where they say that if somebody is laughing when something is not funny, or they don't need, or whatever it is, that means they are lonely. I'm not saying that's not true, but me regaining myself, I love to laugh. The long term effects, it improves your immune system, right? So now I take my products. One of them that I didn't show you that I'm loving, falling in love with, is Blossom Me. I use it. I just finished one sachet. It's not sachet, one whatever this is, and I just started this. And Blossom Me is a woman's dietary supplement, right? I've always taken herbal supplement because from a young age as a child, I would have infections, you know. And the box is so easy to open. I already opened it, but I would have infections. I would have so many different problems. So understanding my health helped me get into supplements, right? Improving my immune system. Looking at, I'm sorry, Instagram. Let me do this. It was paused. Okay. Looking at different things that help my immune system, from the organic shots that are made with orange juice, cayenne pepper. Sometimes I make it myself for me. And at the same time, I laugh now. I don't care if you think what I'm laughing at is funny or it's not funny. Of course, I know when it's time to be serious, I'll be serious, right? But I would laugh. Make easing pain by causing your body to produce its own natural painkillers. I don't take painkillers. I look at natural ways to ease my pain, making it easy to cope with difficult situations. When you are laughing meditation, laughing Buddha. It helps you connect with other people. Ooh, we are having a TLC Zoom right now. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this short because I have to go. We are having a corporate Zoom with TLC, so I have to get in there, and we'll finish this part tomorrow. We'll finish this tomorrow. I'll put it there, and then we complete it tomorrow. Bye bye.